Hi everyone! Today is the day when summer is past, and for sure you did not miss the return of the Game of Thrones saga. This is a complete universe with complex characters, relationships, deaths, war and most importantly dragons. But this new Game of Thrones show is not finished yet and just started. As season 2 is announced, we saw a slaughter, sex and of course a dragon ride with the Doctor Who. Yeah, this character would be really interesting because if you know the story of the Iron Throne, only men ruled Westeros until Daenerys. But it's not about this new show we'll talk about. I will analyze what made Game of Thrones this giant success, what was the recipe and from what it can be so different from Lord of the Rings universe. Game of Thrones has so many defaults with the 3 last season, however we'll talk about just the qualities. Maybe the lack is for another video and of course I will spoil you a lot. And don't forget,
winter is coming.
Medieval realism. When you watch this show, what hits you first is the realism of the medieval world, or maybe the feeling of this could be real. There were lots of realistic visual effects. When the violence is shown, it's every time visually real. You feel Jaime Lannister's hands loss when you see the mountains beheading a horse or crushing a skull. These were not full CGI effects, but real effects, real stuff were used too, making you feel the cruel reality. This is a hard world and you won't survive easily. Even the top characters can be touched. The majority of deaths are not made by magic stuff, but by normal humans too. The most epic battles are realistic. For the Blackwater Bay, it's a pretty accurate medieval battle you can see, even if some magic was used with the wildfire. For the duel, there were sword duels and the movements were realistic. For the decor, taverns and castle, you can feel the rocks, the wood. For the costume, feel the texture of clothes. See the difference between rich and poor just with the clothes or the weapons. You can even feel the power of Tywin Lannister since he appeared skinning a deer. He has the power, he uses it.
I am the king! I will punish you.
Any man who must say, I am the king, is no true king. I'll make sure you understand that when I've won your war for you.
Oh, and Tywin killing a deer means Lannister killing Baratheons. Politic and deception. Honor won't make you win the Game of Thrones in Westeros. Everyone learned that from the first season with the beheading of my favorite character, Lord Eddard Stark. Cersei Lannister was a mistress of cunning. The Honorables character don't have their place in this world.
I did warn you not to trust me.
Especially in King's Landing. It's pretty accurate when you see Bronn using deception in combat. He won it. Honor is just a handicap when your purpose is just to win, but there is another guy using it, Littlefinger.
Chaos isn't a pit. Chaos is a ladder.
And even with corruption and plot, he's put in his place against Cersei. Deception is not enough to win, sometimes strength is necessary.
Seize him. Cut his throat. Stop. Wait. I've changed my mind. Let him go. Step back 3 paces. Turn around. Close your eyes. Power is power.
Okay, for Daenerys, she cheated with dragons. Some other characters' strength is impossible, like Tyrion, that's why he needs help. But having money and brain is a real advantage. He can manage a kingdom as well as a king's hand or queen's hand. Even Samuel Tully got tougher and learned about how to kill the most powerful threat against humanity, White Walkers. In Westeros, even a weak character could be useful. Sex and violence. Since the first episode, we see sex in this show for sure to kill the swords and daggers, but for winning power, sex is a big weapon too. Sex could be for men just the way to passing out a pulse and urge. Men are bestials, but by this way it's a big weakness that anyone can use against.
Men do stupid things for women. They're easily manipulated.
Sometimes better than any iron, sex is a bigger danger. Tyrion remembered it sadly. Okay, don't forget, but sex is also for making an offspring at the beginning. Sex is also an opportunity to build strong alliances. But for other purposes, with black magic, sex is also a dangerous assassination weapon like with the Scarlet Witch, the dark child of Stannis Baratheon. Violence is also shown to us way more directly while not in Lord of the Ring. Any weakness may cost you your life or more. Remember the Red Wedding of Robb Stark. Robb had to marry a Walder Frey's girl. This lord was a passage to Robb's army, but he decided to marry by love to another girl. This treason to Walder Frey cost Robb's life and the rest of his army. And of course, Lord Bolton betrayed Robb Stark, the young wolf. Robb didn't lose any battle, but lost everything with the wrong marriage. This show is not for innocent people. Fantasy universe. Actually, magic is like salt. Not enough is to blend. Too much, it's not edible. Actually, until the 6th season, magic wasn't that common. It was an extraordinary tool, but also great danger. Of course, the biggest danger is the Night's King, an ancient lord of the undead army, the White Walkers. But for struggling this big threat, there are dragons, fire and dragonglass, and maybe giants. For sure, we are not in the real world. Magic is not really for good purposes when it's used for winning power. As we saw before, like with Stannis' dark offspring or Daenerys with dragons, fantasy can also be a mist of mystery, like the giant wall of ice in the north. Ice created by Brandon Stark a long time ago. Not the same Brandon, another Brandon Stark actually. Also the three-eyed raven knowing everything. Having the equivalent of the internet in Westeros, it can watch the past and maybe interfere with it. Magic every time has a hidden cost. Resurrecting a warrior by the Lord of Fire is a bet.
It's not getting any easier, you know.
I know. Every time I come back, I'm a bit less. Pieces of you get chipped away.
And of course, Jon Snow doesn't want to be resurrected anymore. Maybe the price is too high. The characters. Here is the most important part of the success of this show, the characters. There are lots of characters with so many different storylines, and actually since the beginning it's a miracle no one forgot who's who and what it did. There are lots of good characters. Look at Cersei and Jaime Lannister, the first antagonists. They are incestuous like Targaryens, they are corrupted but actually still humans. We can more understand Jaime Lannister with his development and his story. When he met Brienne, he became more friendly to us. How this beautiful guy fell and stood up again, how a great warrior he was, and how he has to deal with only one hand to return back as a great warrior again. And we knew why he killed the Mad King Aerys to Targaryen and why he became the Kingslayer. We saw how Arya Stark became no one but returned back as Arya Stark again, how this brave girl fed a vengeance with a list of names.
Joffrey, Cersei, and in pain, the Hound.
It's really appreciable to see a character evolving to accomplish her purpose and learning by making mistakes. And after that, winning skills in assassination and deception, and her relation evolving with the Hound, actually more a bear. Oh, he is a great grumpy bear.
Fuck the king.
The Hound's becoming a friend for another human, but still desires to kill his brother, the Mountain. How a young man from the Night's Watch broke his oath and had sex with a girl and returned in Winterfell as King in the North. How a molested girl broke the walls of injustice, saved the people and became this kind of tyrant she fought before just because she wants her throne with the help of her dragons. So many interesting characters we see in this show, so many fates evolve, so many stories we can tell even outside the temporality of this first show, like the war against Targaryens 176 years before Daenerys, or maybe the story of Aegon the Conqueror of Westeros is interesting too. This world is entirely organic and can live outside our. In every direction we watch there are tales, interesting great families, treason and of course, sex! And the video has ended. If you want to see more content like this, comment, share, subscribe, click on the bell. Tell me if you want a video about something, I would appreciate to make it, if this is possible and if the subject is interesting. I think the next video incoming would probably please you, so I written back and flash out.